What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team. What's up, dudes? Good morning. Matt is recording something right now, I think, for Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, I think. So it's just us today. I want to see if one of you guys wanted to come on. Ray, good morning, buddy. If you want to come on, haven't talked to you in a while, it'd be awesome to have you on. Or Lucas, Matthew Bland, who else is on here? Anybody who wants to come on? Crispo, Fran. Who else is on here? All right, Ray, you are up, my friend. I do this just infrequently enough to not know how to do it. Delco Jim, what is up, buddy? Crispo, Zach, John, Saad, what's going on? Matthew Bland, morning, brother. Okay, let's do it. Got an interesting topic. Ray, I think I just sent you yeah. Ray, I just sent you an invite, brother. All right.
Frozen. You got me now?
I do.
Awesome. How we doing, Wes?
Dude, how you been, bro? Haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, yeah, man. Changes. Oh, my program is weak these days, Wes. I got to tell you.
All right, let's talk about it.
It's weak.
Let's talk about it.
All right. Oh, I'm fat. I'm fat as hell.
Okay.
So there's that. But also, I think okay, yeah, I think it's just like with the changing of the weather and like the change, like less sunlight out there, I'm just feeling just depressed. And so like less enthusiastic about getting up and going after it, less enthusiastic about my fitness, less enthusiastic about chasing leads and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I think I've turned a corner just like this weekend. Like I was just like, enough's enough sleeping in. But it's been like I'm also just worn out. Like I had an opening reception at my gallery, and then down in Miami at Art Basel for a week, and then back here to put on another exhibition. And so it's just been kind of like been worn out as well,
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a couple things. Do you mind if I comment on a few of those things?
Go for it.
So I think the first thing is, it's incredibly important to be accurate. That's why I really love that book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. One of the chapters is called Thinking Accurately. Because we've got the facts and then we got the story. And I think, I hear your original story and it's like, well, I'm just not like the way I interpret it is like just not doing anything. And then you follow up with like, well, I've done this, and this event. So I would say first thing is just as a brother to a brother, it's like, don't beat yourself up as much. Everybody goes through peaks and valleys, but then also realize that you're not operating at zero. And even if you were operating at zero, that means you have all upside. So that's kind of a good thing too. Mm-hmm. I think the secret, a lot of times just keep going and keep going regardless of the horsepower that you put behind it. I think there's this illusion out there, because I now have the honor of working with and seeing behind the scenes of a lot of like super heavy hitters just in business. Yes. And I often think the illusion is that they're working 24/7. The last time I went to this guy's house, biggest house I've ever been in, guy's worth $350 million. I walk into his house, he's laying on his couch watching football or something like that. And in my head, I'm like, you were never supposed to watch football ever in your life. Like that was not my picture of what this guy was supposed to be,
Always grinding.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the first thing that pops up for me. And then the second thing that pops up for me is you mentioned your weight originally. And yeah, it's like, welcome to the club as a man, society has set the bar so low for men that it's like we have to really, right? Like, if you think about it, out here in California, to be a woman must be like one of the hardest things ever, right? Because not only has society told you that if you have an inch hanging over your belt right, that you're fat, but then also in Southern
Yeah.
California, right, it's sunny all year round. So like you're constantly in skimpy clothing as a woman. So I can only imagine how easy it is to not do a lot of physical stuff or not eat properly if you are a man, and then
Yeah.
also a man in the winter, right? Like that is a difficult thing, bro. And then that leaves us with, okay, then what? What are you putting on the line to make it that much more important for you? Because from my experience, if it's not related to I'm doing this for my family, or this is literally a matter of life and death scenario because I'm making the decisions now, right, that will either kill me or keep me alive when I'm 55 years old, right? Like if it's not that level of important, it's really hard to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I love the way you talk, Wes. It's just pumping me up, man.
Thanks,
Like,
man.
it's true that there isn't the same societal horsepower, like forcing me to stay fit.
Yeah.
Just have to add a sweater, add a layer, add a blazer.
Yep.
And like the goalposts keep shifting in terms of like what my definition of looking good is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like it used to be I want to look good, with my shirt off, and then it was like with a shirt on, and now it's like with a sweater, and now it's like under a parka or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that is spot on, and I think John Walter and I were on the scorecard practice squad this morning. We were listening to Jim Rohn, and I used to listen to him every day before I kind of fell off the wagon. And he says, "Don't neglect the smallest of disciplines." And like that just hit me that just like was like an axe through the frozen sea, of my procrastination. It was like the fundamentals, as you call them, right?
Yeah.
Is what I have to recommit to. And because like to be ripped or jacked or fit or to be successful, it all starts with fundamentals.
Yep.
And so I think that is, that's the medicine. That's the medicine I have to take every day.
Are you still stepping on the scale every morning?
No.
Yeah.
I hit like when it was in the 180 range, like 180, 185, I think it was even 188 one day.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this fucking scale's broken. There's something like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was kind of spooked. And so, and it didn't really matter to me what the scale said. Like, I went to a James Bond themed birthday party, and like I was in my tuxedo, but it didn't close. Like the jacket was open like this.
Yeah.
And only like out of like 25 people, only 3 came in black tie for the same reason, right? Because nobody fits in their like pre-pandemic tuxedo. So I'm not on the scale every day. And my wife is on this. My wife Sarah is on this this kind of like diet where she checks in, and it's kind of like our men's group. Like she checks in every day with this kind of like Zoom meeting, and she keeps encouraging me to like join in on her journey, and I come up with one excuse after another.
What are your thoughts? Why would you not do that?
Well, there's a bit of ego at play. Like I want to do my men's group thing. I want to do what works for me. I want to do my thing, I'd say it's 90% that.
You mind if I comment on that?
Go for it.
So I have noticed a pattern. I don't know how true this pattern is, but I have noticed a pattern that when particularly husband and wife are together, that the male have this goal specifically around weight loss. I have noticed, and this is not, I'm saying that Sarah, I don't know if Sarah does this or not.
Sure.
I have noticed a pattern of resistance on the female counterpart. If the male is off getting a six pack, the female all of a sudden will include another, like, you know, scoop of potatoes on his plate, or like all of a sudden, like I've noticed this pattern enough for me to be very confident.
There's like an equal and opposite reaction to what the other partner's doing.
Yeah, because I think, you know, underlying, psychology is just like there's two ways to like get ahead. You either build the biggest building in town, or you burn the buildings down around you. And I think when it comes to close spousal relationships, they feel like you are getting ahead of them, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like the claws dig in. So I would actually say, setting it out there to see it as an opportunity, because right now she is aligned right with that goal. And if you can piggyback on that without the resistance that might normally be the case, it might be a really good opportunity for you. And, you know, like you said, like you hit it spot on. Who gives a fuck about the ego? Like, if you recognize that it's the ego, oh, you want to do it with your men's group versus like her group or whatever, who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, it's like, why is it important to you, and what's the end result, and how do you best get there, you know, in a healthy way? That's my vote.
100% agree. And
and Kaizen's hitting
Kaizen dropping that Jedi wisdom, man. Yeah, I posted a picture to the Discord of this outfit I bought at down in Miami.
Oh God.
And yes, not having it. She was not into it, dude. But I rocked it, and it was nothing but compliments. It was great. It was the greatest.
So if I were to ask you, what is the reason that you would want to maintain peak physical conditioning, and what does peak physical conditioning and aesthetics mean for you?
Peak physical conditioning for me is not like what you describe as show level, like, or like
Sure.
competition level bodybuilding. It's more just arms I pop, abs I pop a little bit, lean. It's like losing a layer of fat would be the priority rather than bulking up.
Got it. And then what is that for? Why do you want that?
Well, I've got a closet full of beautiful clothes that I cannot fit into. And I'm talking like 95% of the clothes I can't fit into.
Yeah. Got it. And why is that important to you?
Because literally I've been wearing this like Adidas tracksuit every day. It's 3 months, dude.
I like it personally. Yeah.
Yeah. But in all honesty, I want to look good, and I want to feel good. Like, I'm probably carrying, like, if I'm 180, right? I'm probably carrying around, or if I'm 185, I'm probably carrying around like 30 pounds. Right? 20, 30 pounds in a knapsack, basically.
Totally.
But the first goal is, the first goal is visual, okay? Like, looking good, carrying around a toddler. Oh my God, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. Like, it's like a 3-year. I'm in like the 7th trimester. But So to be honest, it's like visual. Like, look good, look good in the mirror, and look good in clothes. That's the goal.
What's the deeper reason behind that, though?
Probably self-confidence, self-esteem.
Yeah.
If I like the way I look, I just have a better kind of level of self-confidence when I walk out the door.
Yeah. What I have noticed, in this area and in a lot of other areas for men, and including myself, when I notice I'm not making enough progress or consistent progress in a certain domain, I've noticed that it's because I don't have 3 to 5 levels of depth in terms of why I'm doing something. And not only going 3 to 5 levels of deep as to why, but then also creating actual scenarios that I can really sink my teeth into. So for instance, what I would argue is the subconscious reason that I want, let's say me, that I want to, be in certain shape, have certain muscles, is for the actual practical application of it. Right. So that like if I were to get into an altercation, that I would give myself the best probability of outcome. And I mean that and I bring that with me to like cocktail parties, which is probably not the healthiest thing to do, but like that's what I think of, because, and I do think there's a thing. I think very few times will we actually be tested, but when we are tested on the important things in life, like you either are trained or you're not trained. That guy at the cocktail party who's lightly hitting on your wife in front of you, you either are going to be able to say something and do something confidently, or you are not going to be able to do something and say something confidently. That is, and if you set up your training to handle that situation, then you will have those physical attributes. But the other way around, I have found it to not work as much. Like, I just want the physical attributes because of some general vague idea of it will give me some sort of social points, even though most people don't even get that far, right? It's like, there's in my opinion, in society today, there's way too many Zaharian signals, which is just like this, like we're able to buy the trophies now instead of earning the trophies. And I fucking
showing up, right, gets you the trophy.
Exactly. Right, like, oh, I can get the Mercedes because I'm on mom and dad's bankroll. It's like the Mercedes was supposed to be a fucking trophy, right? Or I can buy the fancy clothes because I got daddy's credit card. It's like that was supposed to be the trophy. I can, and here's the tough one. I struggle with this. I can have the muscles, right? If I can just kind of shortcut the system and I know how to manipulate the tissue. Right, like I can do this amount of reps, this amount of sets, blah blah blah. I can eat this amount of protein. I can take these supplements, and even worse, I could take these steroids. Right? Like you start getting to levels of the muscles no longer imply what they were originally supposed to imply. I mean,
or tattoos are kind of like tattoos.
100%.
Yeah,
this is why like I could really get down with the tattoos of like a Muay Thai fighter. Right, or like a tattoo of like each victory I had, or
a Maori warrior or something.
Right. Now, I'm not hating on anybody who has tattoos. But I'm saying for me, the way that I look at the world, I see way too many signals out there, and not the underlying attributes that were supposed to have implied that you earned those signals. If that makes sense, and that drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, like, dude. Well,
fucking crazy.
I drove a Mercedes for years, and like I used to talk about this with my therapist, and it's like John Walter's tattoos say this guy likes birds or something. Mike Gibbons also said like when he follows a strict diet, it locks it. What MFG was saying when he follows a strict diet and training, it locks in a self-reinforcing loop of positive habits that ripples into all other areas of life. I like that too. But I drove a Mercedes for like, I guess 9 years, 3 separate 3-year leases. And I mean, I was joking around with my therapist, like if I was being truly honest, I would have a bumper sticker that said, lease payments provided by mother-in-law Nancy, for the exact same reason you talked about. And so like in the middle of the pandemic, when our lease was up on the Mercedes wagon and we didn't renew it, right? We just stuck with the Prius. That was an interesting experiment, right? Like, because I would have to drive around in a Prius and not have the kind of like, not even armor, but you could say armor of a rich guy, like, right, where people don't automatically assume I'm a rich guy.
Yep.
Right. And I had to kind of like be okay with myself, right? Or be okay with people seeing a less idealized version of myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think in doing that, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I'm going to imagine it's incredibly liberating. Like when you stop fucking hiding behind all of the lies. Right. Like, and I'm not saying that you were lying, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, if you're
like
just
when
out
I used
there,
to be terrified of people knowing I was unemployed. Because again, like I was so obsessed with like labels, like rich guy, Mercedes driving, has a job, doesn't have a job. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's just such a relief if someone were to ask me, you know, what do you do for work? And me saying I don't have a job, you know what I mean? Rather than trying to like dodge the question, change the subject, you know, like being okay with myself is a great feeling.
You know, it's funny because I think that's not a popular thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm actually an enormous fan of labels. It's inaccurate labels that I fucking hate. And also, I also think not taking that too far. So, like, I played basketball my entire life, as I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. They played high school sports or college sports or whatever, right? Like, labels are important. Knowing who is on JV versus who was on varsity versus who was on freshman is very important, and it's a badge of honor. But then when you go into the locker room, you don't judge anybody, right? It's like, who gives a shit? But on the court, I'm here, you're here, or you're here, I'm here. And in that hierarchy allows for us to have this dance of progress. Right, that's the only thing that allows us to have this dance. But the funny thing is, you got to earn it every day, right? So, like, I love labels. I hate false labels. Hate them. Absolutely hate them. And the interesting thing about it is, you can tell, especially in the money world, like you can tell within 5 minutes of having a conversation with somebody if it's a false label or not. Like, absolutely, I can tell by their habits. I can tell by the level of conversation they have. I can tell if they're wearing Gucci shoes, I automatically write them off. It's like false label. You know, like something like that, you know, and I'm just fucking around, but almost not fucking around. So the second thing that I would say to you, Ray, is number one, like, have you developed the deep enough why, like 3 to 5 levels of why? And then the other thing is, are you making yourself present to that at the intersection points, the forks in the road? So, like, one of the things that I'm going to do, I'm actually heading to the trophy shop today to see if I can get a plate, because I want to start getting back down. I'm probably at like 11 or 12% body fat right now, and MFG challenged me on Friday on a body fat competition, and he did it in a good way.
You could not decline him.
Oh yeah, which I loved. Like, he's pushing against me, which is great. So I'm going to the trophy shop today to see if I can get a plate and then carve my enemies' names in the plate, so that every single time that I eat, I will put the food or the dish on that plate, and I will be staring at it. Yeah.
And every time you kill one of them, you can like grind it out.
I'm gonna put his fingerprint right on the.
Yeah.
But that
don't
is
don't you think a necklace of their ears would just be easier, right? Like that.
That's exactly right. Gunther, what's up, bro?
What's up, Gunther?
So that's what I would say at the intersections of where those things, those make or break things are. I'm going to eat this Snickers bar or I'm not. But for me, I'm vowing to put every fucking piece of food on this plate, and there is making it a very visceral fork in the road. Okay, this is either for your enemies or it's against them, right? Like now that's what motivates me, as you well know. So I would ask you, what is making you present? It sounds like you might not have the deep enough why, but once you do have the deep enough why, what is going to make you present to it? Hey dudes, sorry for the interruption here. Just wanted to let you know, if you want to join our pro team, go to romasteam.com/pro. You can help support the channel. You will also get access to exclusive content, masterminds, one-on-one sessions, etc. All right, back to the episode.
Yeah, I definitely don't have a deep enough why. Like, I'm thinking of the Nietzsche quote: "The man who has a why can endure almost any how."
Yep.
Right. We talked about.
Oh yeah.
On this in this group before, and so I think I have to work on my why. So like. I guess you like the why could be the 4 levels of why could be applied to any of like our vision board or like our goals categories, right? Like health, diet or fitness, mental health, career, craft development, and relationships. So like, can you give me an example of like the 3 or 4 levels of why when it comes to fitness, for example?
Yeah, I mean, so for instance, right, like when I ask you, okay, why do you want to get the? Well, because I want my biceps to show. Okay, why do you want your biceps to show? Oh, well, because I want to look good, right? Like, oh, okay, well, why do you want to look good? Oh, well, because, and then you kind of start to scratch the surface, right? The third level is just starting to scratch the surface. Oh, well, because like in a social situation, right? Like I want to feel good. Okay. And then we can say now, like for me, it's like, okay, because I want to know that every single room I walk into, I externally represent my internal mentality, right? And then for me, it always gets to confrontation, right? So it's like I need to earn my results every day, including the love of my girlfriend and future spouse and all that kind of stuff. And I need to earn it. Like that is a core value for me. Am I earning it today? And if it were to be challenged today, how would I perform? So for me, everything comes down to that, right? Like, and then also, right, that's why I have like on my coffee mug, like wife, son. It gets really deep for me when it's like I never want to look at my son in the face and tell him to do something that I haven't done, right? Or like tell him to take risk and I haven't taken risk, or tell him to get in the gym when I wasn't willing to get in the gym. Like that for me is deep enough, right? And also the challenge of Hugh Jackman coming to my dinner table and taking my spouse away from me, but like that sort of thing, I always run through, always, like literally on a daily basis.
I think it's your girlfriend who should be worried about what. What's his name? Hal Jackman, or no? What's his name?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. It's your girlfriend who should be worried about Hugh Jackman coming and like swooping you and taking you away. From what I understand,
it's 100% correct. So, like when you tell someone your why, you should almost feel embarrassed to say it out loud.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say like I want something that occurred to me is like I want to break the patterns of learned behavior. Like for example, like I want to break the bad habits that were programmed into me from my parents. Right? So like my parents were not good with money. My parents were not health and fitness enthusiasts, right? And so that's something that comes to mind. It's like to reprogram myself because I'm you know, like plenty of people, I think I find myself stuck in patterns of my parents, like learned behavior from my parents that I, have always said or sworn I would never repeat. But it's just something, it's a pattern. It's just, it's our programming, right? It's like our hard drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then I would push on you and say, well, how seriously do you take that? Cause for instance, I've got a client who great guy. I love him to death. One of my closest friends, but he's carrying twins in his belly like every single time I see him. And then, he'll go and lose 20 pounds and he'll come back and then he gains 30 pounds back and all this kind of stuff. And he tells me, he's like, I say, hey, why are you doing this? And he says, I'm doing this because my dad died at the age of 52, which that's a pretty deep level of why, right? And he's like, I need to be there for my son past the age of 52. I said, okay, great. But then he fucking laughs when he eats donuts. And I told him, I said, dude, don't eat donuts around me. Like, it's not funny to me. Don't talk about donuts around me. Don't laugh.
You need to smack the donut out of his mouth. Like,
yeah, right. So that's the thing, right? Like, how can you say I want to be there for my son, right? And don't want to have a heart attack, but then you fucking laugh when you talk about eating donuts. That's a problem to me, right? Like, that's not a mismatched goal. That's a mismatched seriousness to the goal. Like, I think way too many men are casual about their shit. I'm not the most enjoyable person to talk to, like at a family barbecue. I know I'm not.
No, this is a nightmare for me. This is like I have therapy at 2, and I'm already going to be all cured. I'm going to be already fixed. Right?
But dude, the thing is, so I was talking to a therapist recently, and she was telling me that one of the great things about psychology that has been done over the last decade or two is that younger people are now much more in touch with their emotions. But she also said one of the biggest problems is now many more people are now in touch with their emotions. So they kind of get this emotional climax right before they even fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and so they know how to label their emotions, but they don't they take more of an observer's perspective rather than an active participant in their life. It's like, well, shit, right. I'd rather be actively participating in my life and deal with the psychological consequences than make a hypothesis about what the psychological consequences are purely in the stance. Like that to me is
like an academic like 100%
analysis. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So,
And another thing is like, or that also makes me think of something I've talked about in therapy, or something that's been barked at me, is like, to make like personal change and personal growth isn't easy and isn't fun. You know, like to confront your demons, like it's not, you don't necessarily feel a sense of relief when you confront your demons, right?
Oh no, yeah. I sleep with my demons every fucking night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I mean that's the thing I think that's not talked about a lot is dark motivation. I mean, I'm like
Right.
90% dark motivation. If you look at I think I heard an interview from Will Smith, and actually Matt, just so everybody knows, Matt just listened to the book that was written by Will Smith and another author, and he said it was outstanding. So I'm gonna listen to that. But a lot of guys that I respect use dark motivation. Like they don't want to go back to the place that they were, or they remember that time in the cafeteria they were picked on, the guy punched him in the face or whatever, right? Like, and they I think that's why Joe Rogan got into MMA. I think like one time a guy pinned him down and was like punching him, or just like pinned him down and wouldn't let him go, and he realized he was helpless. So that set off the next like 35 years of MMA execution.
Mm-hmm.
So and then also, dude, I think one of the things to think about, like if I were your brother, I would tell you, don't come back and complain to me if Sarah leaves you. Right? Like,
What?
do you know what I mean? And no, just bear with me on like the mental model, right? Like this is what I
Okay.
what I think for myself, right? I'm not speaking to you, I'm like speaking to me, right? Like,
Okay.
like if something bad, if I lose a client, or if I lose a spouse, or if like I lose a deal, or if I lose
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it's like I have no fucking right to complain unless I've done the work. And when
Yeah.
you've done the work, you don't want to complain. You're like, okay, well, I lost this person or I lost this deal. I could easily go get it somewhere else, right? Because if you've done the work, then usually it's on them. It's not on you. Do you know what I mean? Like the way I feel right now in business is if I lose a deal or something, literally it's like, okay, it's nothing I could have done. Or like
It's
I
an
know
external
that
factor.
exactly.
Yeah, you didn't lose it.
Exactly. I was talking with a buddy recently, and and his wife cheated on him, and this is a hard conversation to have, as you could imagine, right? And I said, "Hey, man, can I just speak openly to you?" Right? And he said, "Sure." I said, "Dude, I'm saying this out of love, but like, what was one of the critiques that she gave you?" And he said that she told him the like physical appearance.
Yeah.
And I said, "Dude, like, not excusing what she did, but how often was she giving you those hints? Implicitly or explicitly?" And he said explicitly for a while. I said, "Well, it's your fault."
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, and now we could debate whether or not like she did it for those reasons, or if you did have a six pack or whatever, if she would have done it. But here's the thing: the fact that it's up for debate means it's your fucking fault. Period. That's the way that I would look at it. I'm not judging, right? Like, of course, I'm there for my friend, but I think it's important to have that conversation so that in the future, for him, he can look. It's like there's either trained or there's untrained. There's either prepared or there's not prepared. Period. No matter how much that hurts, the sooner you get on that bandwagon, like the more you'll get results, right? Like the sooner you get results.
God damn.
Sorry for the Sarah comment. I was just saying it's a mental model.
No, dude. I gotta give her a call as soon as I've done like doing 100 push-ups or something.
But like when you can bring that to the workout, right, or bring that to the meal, right, that like it's got to be this avalanche, right, of like reasons as to why you're not going to eat the sandwich. And if it's not, if the scale is relatively equal, bro, or if it's just like 10% on here, like, oh, but yeah, I'll make it up next time. It's like, that's not going to work. And you know that, and I know that everybody else on this call knows it.
I think that drugs and alcohol for me, like that is one kind of part of my life where where I apply that kind of like methodology, right? It's like I have to think of like, is this, drug or alcohol like worth derailing my whole day, or my whole week or month or life, or losing my marriage or losing my daughter, like,
Oh yeah.
It has to be that kind of like epic, or that is the That's the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah, because usually what kills us is not level 10 situations. It's 10 level 2 situations. So if you can bring a level 10 to the level 2 constantly, then you'll crush it. Right? But if it's the other way around, if you're bringing a level 3 to a level 2, it's like good luck, man, because level 2 is going to work every single time, because usually with like on the other side it's work, right? Or it's sacrifice, or it's whatever. Yeah. So people should look at you like you're fucking weird when you tell them why you don't want the pastry at the cocktail hour. You know, it's like, dude, I want to fucking die. Right? It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like I can't eat this pastry. I got to tell my son about this in 10 years. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, I can't eat it. Do you see Hugh Jackman? No, I don't see him, but he would not eat this pastry right now.
Do you hear those steps? Do you hear those feet coming up the steps? It's Hugh Jackman. I'm going to take my wife away. And he's like, and the waiter and the catering waiter at the wedding is like holding the pastries. It's like, what the fuck? What? Good God.
The other thing I would ask you, man, is are you keeping busy? Like, if I were to look at your schedule, like, are you keeping busy with things that are level 10 for you? Because I've noticed a very strong correlation with, like, you know, couch time is potato chip time. You know, time that's up for grabs is like time in the bag of snacks, man. You know, and and then also, how extreme are you willing to go on the food side? You know, I've noticed a lot of married men struggle with this, especially if they have a kid in the house, because all of a sudden there's like Scooby snacks there's Doritos and blah blah blah, all that stuff. You know, but I can also say I know a very close friend of mine. Unfortunately, he has Parkinson's and he's in his 40s. And when he got that, the family moved to like all natural, like all healthy stuff. Like even their snacks are like dried mangoes. And I would argue, and now, by the way, like they've got 3 kids. None of the kids eat bullshit snacks. 0 of them. Even to the point where, like, I have met them over at my partner's house, because he's their grandchildren, or they're his grandchildren. And like when the grandparents try to give them snacks, they won't eat them because they don't like them. Right? That's the level. And what changed? The level of seriousness. Right? Oh my God, Dad has Parkinson's. We need to tighten up the ship as absolutely tight as possible. Right? And then as a whole family. So it's for sure possible. So I would throw the ball back at you. It's like, you know, as a leader, what are you doing for the household food supply?
Yeah. Like teaching Thea good food habits, you know, now during her formative years.
Oh yeah.
And like, I guess I can just picture her like healthy and active and attractive, like into her 60s, or like on one of those mobility scooters.
Yep.
Or something, right?
Oh, dude, or even worse. Like, think about as she gets into high school. So I had a conversation.
Oh yeah. That's terrifying, dude. Like the kind of like the body shaming and the like cyberbullying and shit like that.
Yeah. So I had a conversation. Now, I did not go all out on this conversation for obvious reasons, as you'll come to light when I tell you this. So I had a conversation with this is probably like 2 years ago, a couple years ago, and it was with a friend of a daughter. No, the daughter of a friend. And she was probably like 16 years old, right? And super smart, but a little doughy, right? You know what I mean? And
tearing around twins, not literally, hopefully.
You know, not like super fat or anything, but you know, like pudgy. Now, the conversation I had with her, basically, I told her, like, hey, just so you know, it's going to be very hard to find your counterpart because women, from what Jordan Peterson says, I think, say date in a hypergamy type of situation. So they date across and up, right? Versus men tend to date across and down, but they'll take whatever. So I said, for her situation, it's going to be really hard because she's very intellectual. She likes that intellectual stimulation and conversation, et cetera. So it's going to be very difficult. And she's very mature. Given that men tend to be not so mature for their age, right? It's going to be hard. But really, what one of the bigger obstacles that she has is that she's not physically attractive, right? And for no other reason, right? Like her face is actually attractive, but for no other reason than like she doesn't have the habits down. Now she is raised in a family where it's like, oh, love your body regardless, and it's like, I get it. Right? I get the origin and the intention of that, but to have that conversation separate from the reality of the results, because the world is harsh, right? Like I don't care if we talk about equality. I don't care if we talk. It doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter what we talk about. It doesn't change the results. That's the shitty part. So we can have this fake conversation. Now, I don't want to say I should have been more real. I should not have been. It's not my place. And that would have just like devastated this girl's psychology. But that's the reality. So yes, if you can do whatever you can to not create that in Thea, it's like, why would you not? You know, arguably, I would imagine that for most of us, especially for your daughter, the most important decision she's ever going to make is the spouse that she earns. That's it. You know, and unfortunately the way it is, like, I mean, you know this, like, how do men make decisions? It's like 95% off of physicality. Right? Or it's at least the gatekeeper.
Right. So give the that advantage, or like, right? Like, don't close off that opportunity or that.
Exactly. You know, and you are so intelligent and smart enough to be able to articulate those in a way that that she can get the healthy version of that. Right? Like, you have the gift of using your words. Like, for sure, there's no doubt about it. Like, that is your superpower, in my opinion. 100%. You're able to articulate. Absolutely. You know, so like, because a lot of people would not be able to give those instructions and have the young female walk away and like knowing actually what to do and maintain that healthy spectrum of what's good for me and what's not, and what's a good look and what's not, and so on. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think if you can relate those things and really link those things and get yourself whatever, whether it be a fucking coffee mug or a fucking card or a fucking plate, right, to make yourself present, because I think that's the biggest part. Biggest part, once you develop the why, is you become distant from the why when the stimulus is right in front of your eyeballs.
Right.
Yeah.
God
so
damn.
That's my vote.
God damn, man. Where the fuck's Matt McCusker when I need him?
Dude, Matt's crushing, bro. I'm so fucking proud of him. I'm so proud of Matt. He's just crushing. He's operating on all cylinders.
He's back in the he's doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah, he's just in it, right? Matt and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this. Like, he and I had a conversation. This is why Rhomas started. Like, I already had a men's team that we just meet in person, and he and I met, and I was like, dude, like, you're crushing it. And he's like, yeah. And I said, well, how many hours a week are you working? He's like, I don't know, like 3 or 4. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, but what are you doing? Like, you got to be on the field for longer than that. And to Matt's credit, he got on board, man. And he's like crushing it now, dude. Like, crushing it to the point where, and I don't think he'd mind me saying this because we had this on Friday, his goal is to double his income in 2022. And a lot of guys tell me that just because it sounds good. And that's great, right? Like, you should definitely have that North Star goal. But I legitimately think Matt will do it.
Wow.
You know, like, he's got a real shot at doing it, and that's insane. So, like, I'm super pumped and proud of him, man, because he's just crushing it, and he's doing it for his fucking family.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah, man. It's good to talk to you, bro.
Yes, Wes. The Lexus is still driving smooth as silk.
Oh,
I don't
nice,
need no
dude.
fucking winter tires, man. I don't mind slipping and sliding a little bit.
There you go. I love it, man.
Beauty.
Good. Well, get back on the horse, dude. And if you can,
Hell yeah.
shoot me a text. Let me know the progress. And get back on the fucking scale, man.
Oh, dude.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna post my weights to the Discord.
Please do.
Okay, and I might need to do, like, there's gonna be so many numbers. I'm gonna have to, like, tilt my phone this way. But all right.
Cool.
Okay. What's your weight at right now? What did it say?
So mine is 176.5. So I'll go in on with you. I would like to get to, when is Christmas? 176.5.
It's usually on December 24th.
So I am going to,
Fuck, Mike Gibbons is hovering around 150. God damn.
Oh, he's a beast, dude. He is such a beast. I want to be one. I want to be in the 1.6s, so 169.9 and lower by Christmas.
I'm not sure you can do it, Wes. I don't think you have the hustle, man.
So
I don't think you want it. I don't think you want it bad enough, dude.
all right, so we're gonna do so. That being said, we're gonna do 165. Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna be in the 165 range.
165.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
and Gibbons, I'm fucking coming after you. I'm
I'm
fucking
coming for
after
you, skinny.
Yeah. In a very good way. I love the fact that he challenged me on Friday. That was perfect. And I injured myself, so I can't work out. So it's purely got to be on food. Purely.
And okay, so I was going to ask you, so I'm going to make 165 my goal weight as well, because I was down to 160. I think I was down to 160.5 or like 161.
Okay.
Last time I really committed to our Rhomas weight loss, where I was like taking pictures of food and pictures of the scale. And so you said you're not working out. So like, explain to me your what's your roadmap for getting to 165?
Good question. So, and like we've talked about, so it's pure density diet, like we've talked about in the past. So just a
90% vegan or like whatever the ratio is.
Yep, exactly. Just over index on vegetables, and then have sufficient meat in there for protein. You don't have to do the meat necessarily if you don't want to. But for me, I still do. So I'll do a bunch of veggies and lean meat. So I do Genie O 99% lean ground turkey. That's most of my protein intake.
And do you do the smoothie still, or what do you do for breakfast?
I don't do breakfast. I have matcha tea. So I'm typically only eating 1 to 2 meals a day. And depending on my energy level will be, that's what is dictating whether or not I eat 2 meals. So yeah. So like a typical meal, like we've talked about in the past, just in case anybody hasn't heard this before, is like a big ass bowl of vegetables. So like, and a lot of cruciferous vegetables. So, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, etc., just to add the bulk. And then I usually throw in a handful of mixed greens in there. Zucchini, a ton of zucchini, actually a lot of celery. So like I get the Genio,
I don't know what this is.
Genio is a brand.
Okay.
And then it's 99% lean ground turkey. And it's just like, it's kind of like ground up ground turkey, and they like print it out in a rectangle, right? Like it's just a rectangle of meat.
So it's like a space station, like kind of unit of food.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, you know when you go to the grocery store and they have like the styrofoam plates.
Yeah, tray.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but the cool thing is they have it cut out to where it's 100 grams of protein. So I cut that in half.
Portioned.
Exactly. Yeah. It just reduces the variables for me. So I cut that in half, cook that up in a dish. So it's going to be, or in a frying pan. So it's 50 grams of protein. And then I cut up a shitload of zucchini, and I cut up a shitload of celery, and I put it all in there because that adds to the bulk. Now I'm like 2-3x the bulk. I mean, a lot of zucchini, a lot of celery, because it's little to no calories, ton of water, ton of fiber, right? And then I put that on top of the cruciferous vegetables like the broccoli, cauliflower, and so on. You can't go wrong with that, right? Like, and by the way, like you can mix and match the vegetables. There's hundreds of different combinations. Now, here's where you want to be careful. You want to be careful of over-indexing on the starchy carbs, right? Like potatoes, sweet potatoes, etc. It's not that they're bad. It's just that they pack a ton of calories, right? That's where they get a bad name. I don't eat carbohydrates. It's like, well, dummy, like vegetables are primarily carbohydrates, but some vegetables have way more carbs than others. Rice, for instance, has a ton of calories because it's so densely packed with carbohydrates. Not that it's bad, but it's very easy to overeat. So so typically my bowls will look like that, and then I'll do like a handful of like chopped up potato, or like a small potato or a small sweet potato, something like that. And sometimes, depending on whether or not I down my diet the day before, I won't even do that. Or if I haven't exercised that day, I won't even do that. Yeah. And dude, you'll notice that the scale drop like that.
And so day in, day out, you basically eat the same thing every single day.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, if you do the density diet, you can afford, like, I'll have a cookie or I'll do whatever, right? It's not going to move the needle, right? Like, and because I'm feeding my body so many nutrient dense foods, micronutrient dense food, I'm not starving to eat the 20 cookies like I used to.
Right.
Like if I have a cookie, I'll have like 1 or 2 cookies and then I'll be good. So you can still remember Austin? Remember how shredded he got? Right? Like if people can look at how shredded Austin got, that's all he was following. He just following the density diet, right? You know, you don't have to get so specific unless you're going to step on a bodybuilding stage. Then you have to like weigh things out, measure it, be exact to the point. But if not, like, do follow the prescription I just said, and you'll crush it. You'll crush it. And the cool thing is you can do that out when you go out to eat, right? Like if you go out to a restaurant, like make sure you pick a restaurant that has a salad. And so what I do is I get a salad and then I usually order like 1 to 3 extra sides in the form of like, oh, do you have a fruit cup? One of the best salads I've ever made is at Denny's. Right? As crazy as that sounds. I get like one of their shitty salads, and I tell them not to put any cheese, no dressing. And then I order like 3 sides of fruit or 2 sides of fruit and like a side of broccoli, and they dump it all in there. And it's like a mountain of vegetables. And dude, it's phenomenal. It's like $3, you know?
But then are you asking the waitress like what's your why? You know?
So yeah, man, let's do it, buddy.
Okay.
Your goal is what by when?
I'm saying I mean, I don't know. So let's say I'm at 188. Let's just say I'm at 188.
Okay.
What do you think I can achieve by like December 31st? That's
December
2
31st.
weeks. 2 weeks, maybe a little more. Like if I go hard on the density diet, first 2 weeks.
7 pounds.
Okay. So I'm going to call it 10 then. Let's say 10
right.
lose, you like that, Wes? Lose 10 pounds.
Absolutely.
By New Year's Eve at 12:30 or at 11:59.
Done. 10 pounds?
I'm going to ring in the new year on a scale.
Fucking right. All right. I'll do the same. 10 pounds.
All right. Let's go, gents. Have a great fucking week.
Dude, great fucking seeing you, brother. Guys, have an awesome week. I'll talk to you guys on Friday.
Hell yes.
Later.